And we're all so very proud of Captain Shukla. We've all got our hopes right up there for when he's a part of this mission, for when the launch happens. There's also a lot riding on his shoulders. Why do I say that? Because as ISRO has referred to him, he is the Gaganyatri. He's part of the Gaganyaan mission. That's when his name first came into the limelight, and then handpicked from the Gaganyaan mission to be a part of the AX4 space mission. From this very mission, ISRO has a whole lot to learn. There are handpicked experiments that ISRO also will be conducting, that Captain Shukla will be conducting for ISRO. Over 60 research experiments in all, not just for ISRO, but other space stations also coming together to ensure that there are a lot of learnings for future such manned missions. And Shreya is going to run you through that particular list, some of the big experiments that will be conducted on board the ISS when this mission takes off. Shreya, over to you.
Right, Akshita. So when we're speaking of this mammoth mission, there are 4 countries in collaboration that we see: US, Hungary, Poland and India. Now, out of the 60 experiments that even Akshita mentioned about, there are about 10 experiments which India will be specifically focusing on. What are some of these research experiments? Let me take you through them in detail. Number 1 is research on muscle loss in space. A lot of these experiments has a lot to do with microgravity and how operations can take place in microgravity. One of them would be research on muscle loss in space. So especially the focus would be on manned activities in space. Then we move on to study of crops grown in space. This is a rather important part of this very space mission that we see, as to studying crops and how they in fact end up reacting to microgravity in space and how their growth gets affected in the same process. Now, survival of water bears in space as well. A lot of flora and fauna that we see the focus being on in this very mission. Again, study of microalgae growth on the ISS as well. Remember, this would be the first Indian citizen on the ISS, in fact, conducting these very experiments. Again, sprouting salad seeds in space. That is also a rather interesting, rather interesting part within the very agriculture ambit, the focus of the agricultural ambit that we are taking a look at when it comes to this very mission. Study of cyanobacteria in space is another very mission that we are looking at, another experiment that we are looking at. Again, microgravity screen interactions. That's what we are trying to mention here. Microgravity, or rather experiments associated with how things operate underneath microgravity. What impact does microgravity have on these particular aspects that we've mentioned: crops, bacteria, algae. These are what we will be looking at in terms of India's focus in this very mammoth mission.